David this morning. We're very glad to have him with us. As you know, there's also another meeting today that will be at Salsa over at Ridgeway and Hopper, is it? Yeah. And that's the lunch hour Republican group. Kemp Conrad, I think, is the speaker, if any of you want to take in that meeting. All right. The East Shelby meeting is next week. Okay. Who do we have?
Is it George Flynn?
Put him on the spot.
Is it George Flynn?
Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn. Okay, very good. So that'll be a good meeting to take in as well. Anonymous from API. Now, those of you that didn't grow up where I did, you hear the words or initials API and have no idea what that means probably, but where I come from, we all know the American Petroleum Institute because we grew up in the oil patch. And one of the things that was on the news is as important as anything else that happened was the rig count of that was around that was poking holes in the ground trying to find oil and gas out in Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, where I came from. So I think you'll enjoy hearing from him. There is a project right now to bring a natural gas pipeline through the state of Tennessee. Natural gas is a very inexpensive energy, and it would bring a lot of economic opportunities, possibilities to the state of Tennessee. I think you would like to hear about that. We may get some media coverage on the thing as well. I don't know how that will work out. Very glad to have David Pickler with us this morning. Everybody knows who David is and his association and his dedication to the education situation here in Shelby County, and how he's I'm sure that most of you have seen him on television this week, and the new principal, I'm sure he's going to talk about some of those things, some of those talking points that I mentioned on the email that I hope everybody got. Anybody else have anything else they would like to bring to this group this time before we turn it over to David?
Morning, and we're going to first begin with a conversation about what's going on locally. But I think then we're going to kind of turn our attention to some national issues that are impacting public education and perhaps some impact and influence they're going to have here on us locally. So let's kind of start off a little bit with what's going on, kind of the state of education in Shelby County, because it is definitely something that's very interesting. To say that Memphis and Shelby County has been at the epicenter of public education in America would be an understatement. The merger that was just recently effected between Shelby County Schools and Memphis City Schools was, in fact, the largest merger in American public education history ever. And certainly the consequences and the structure of how this merger came about is also historic. There certainly has never been a situation where effectively a smaller district assumed responsibility for a larger district because that large district chose to go out and surrender their charter. Every other major merger has been through the negotiation or a ballot process where everyone in the community had a voice in the process. That wasn't the case here. And I think we all remember Memphis City Schools on December 20th, 2010, by a 5-4 vote, a vote to give up their charter. That vote was ratified by a vote of the people of the city of Memphis, people of suburban Shelby County with having no vote, in March of 2011. After about 18 months of court battles and other issues, then we began to move forward on this merger process. The merger was technically effected as of July 1 of 2013, but the merger really began to happen the 1st of August when school resumed. To say that the merger had challenges would be, again, an understatement. There have been major issues with the merger. We'll start off with leadership. Over the course of the past year, and again, I'm going to get quickly through this, but I do need to feel to give you a little bit of a perspective. We've seen over the past 8 months the superintendents of both the former Memphis City school system and the former Shelby County school system have left. Griner Cash has gone to points unknown. John Atkin, retired and is now serving as a consultant for our suburban communities as they begin their process of building a school system. The school board attorney and he became the interim superintendent. Again, a very unusual set of circumstances to put someone who had no education background in as superintendent to oversee what in fact was, again, the largest merger ever. The reality was probably was the best move we could have done. The 23-person school board that was put together beginning in October of 2011 was, quite frankly, an abomination. It was, I don't know if you can get 23 people to agree on what a square is. I'm not sure you can totally get them to agree that today is Thursday. And certainly that board spent over policy matters and turf wars and all sorts of political issues and gave very, very little consequence to the impact on children. In fact, my last comment in the last meeting of that 23-person board was that I hope that the board that succeeded would get the focus back on student achievement. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason to have a public education system, the only reason to have an elected school board is to keep the focus on the children. We're in the business to serve children. We're in the business to prepare those children for college and or career, and to prepare them for engaged citizenship. That is our responsibility as a community. That's our responsibility as educators. The conversation was never on the agenda. We did find a way to get the systems merged, primarily through the fact that when Dorsey Hobson came in February, that at the urging of several of our school board members, including myself, we said the time has come to go out there and just get the job done. And as much as possible, do it, if you have to do with, through, around, over, above, or beyond the board. And Dorsey and his team did a very, very good job. Have there been glitches? Absolutely. We had teachers who did not get paychecks for a while. We had teachers who were deceased, whose families got paychecks. That was pretty embarrassing. We had teachers who got paychecks for $2.15. Teachers don't get paid much. They do get paid a little bit more than that. We had issues with kids not getting schedules and textbooks the first few days. There were some issues, but the reality is 6 weeks in, kids are in class, kids are learning, teachers are getting paid, kids are being transported back and forth safely. And so from that perspective, and that is a little bit, there's something very short of a miracle that's happening, that public education is moving forward. Now, where do we stand as we go forward? Well, the board, and again, I made the motion because I felt like the focus needed to be back on the kids. At our first meeting of the 7-member board, the permanent school board, if you would, met a couple of weeks ago, and I made the motion to end the national search. Would have cost over $1 million of your taxpayer dollars, and did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, in this time of very significant budget challenges, we don't need to be spending a single solitary dime that's not going into the classroom. Number two, with the fact that the municipal schools are going to happen in all probability beginning in the next year, and that this district is going to shrink by another 35,000 kids, that there's going to be yet another huge year of uncertainty. It would be very difficult to conduct a national search and get anyone who'd be willing to come in and seize control of this district at this time. And so, why spend the money? Why distract our efforts when what we need to be doing is putting our focus on making sure that these kids are getting the best education that they possibly can?
Miss out, Mr. Pickler, but Nicholas Street support also known as the governor. How can we ensure? I have a philosophy that teachers shouldn't talk politics in the schools.
That they should or should not?
They should not talk politics in the schools, such as, if I'm a Republican or Democrat. What do you think about that philosophy? Should there be a certain policy in the school system to, kind of ban teachers from talking political rhetoric? Because, it is a school system.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think that teachers are human.
Right.
And it's just like, I remember growing up that we used to think that Huntley and Brinkley and Walter Cronkite didn't have biases.
Uh-huh.
But here's the thing. Walter Cronkite may have been a Democrat, probably was, but I didn't feel like I was listening to a Democrat on television. Mm-hmm. There's no question when I watch the news today, there's a bias, and I hear it. I am totally comfortable with the teacher having whatever political beliefs that they should, but if they profess their
Publicly.
their bias or their beliefs publicly, it has a chilling effect
Right.
on children who may have different beliefs.
Absolutely.
And so I do believe very strongly that a teacher should have the right to have their own opinion, but they should understand that in the context of the classroom, that they should have a climate that allows everyone's opinion to be advanced, and that doesn't, and they need to understand that as a leader in that classroom, that if a child has an opinion that's different from this, that they are very unlikely to raise that or to be seen in a positive manner. If they were to raise that, it could be seen as being, contrary to how the teacher was trying to move things.
Right.
And so that does not encourage kids to be free thinking and to encourage great debate. But we should always understand in any type of situation when a teacher is in a position of power or undue influence, that they should be very careful with that. It goes to politics. It goes to religion. I embrace anyone's right to embrace religion any way that they choose, or follow any faith that they want to, or follow any politics that they want to.
Nicholas Fagese here with Commissioner Heidi Schaefer. As I was stating before, I came up with the title. They came up with the title calling me the governor here at the Election Commission by my woman Karen Hart. And I just wanted to say that I believe Governor Haslam is a good person, and a very caring person.
I do too, and his wife is from here in Memphis and Shelby County, so we feel doubly thrilled because not only is Governor Haslam a good businessman and a good governor, but he's got roots through his wife here, and
Yeah.
we love that because we are the largest county in Tennessee.
Absolutely.
And how Memphis goes is how Tennessee goes, so it's very important to Tennessee that we do well, and I know Governor Haslam has this close to his heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I'll follow in his footsteps.
There you go, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.